up the meeting with a word of prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance. So if you would, I'd ask you to stand. We're going to call Campbell. He's the pastor of Hanceville here in Hanceville. He's going to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given unto us. Father, we thank you for your love and your grace, your mercy that you have extended to us through your Son, Jesus. And Father, today we thank you. We thank you for our town. We thank you for our businessmen and our businesswomen. And we thank you for all of our citizens, as well as our city workers and all of our leaders, dear Lord. Thank you for each one. Father, we thank you for each one that's here this evening as well. And we thank you, dear Lord, for this time that you've blessed us with. We ask you, Father, tonight to help us, dear Lord, to speak with understanding, to listen with understanding as well. But Father, we pray tonight that you give us clarity as well, too. Help us, dear Lord, to be able to have ears to hear and eyes to see what you have us to say, what you have us to hear, so that we might leave with greater vision, a greater purpose, and a greater understanding. Watch over us and keep us, and we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the time in our meeting that we allow any citizen who would like to make a comment to the city council. Citizen, I mean a resident of the city of Hanceville. Or if you are a business owner in the city, or if you are a business owner in the police jurisdiction, we will allow you an opportunity to speak. I know that most of you that want to speak here tonight is probably going to be directed toward the police department. Now, there may be someone here that has a comment that you'd like to make other than directed toward the police department. We're going to allow you that opportunity to do that. But at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our city attorney, and he's going to give us the ground rules for this time of the meeting.
Thank you. Let me, first off, housekeeping. Microphone's not working well. You can hear it roar back at you, or we can talk loud. So if you don't mind, if you're going to speak, talk loud, or you won't get heard. And of course, we apologize for that, but I know you don't want to hear it roaring through your ears all the meeting time. So let me remind everyone that in 2008 November, the City Council passed what the League of Municipalities recommended, that is a set of procedural rules. The procedural rule states in the ordinance that citizens who wish to be heard by the council shall be afforded such opportunity during the portion of the meeting so designated. The comments shall conform to the requirements of decorum and order that apply to the members of the council. And the chair shall take whatever steps are necessary, including removal of citizens, to preserve such decorum and order. Comments shall be addressed to the council and shall not include any personal or other comments addressed at any member of the council or council employee. There shall be no debate and no action by the council during this portion of the agenda. I know that some of you may not have gone to very many public meetings, and so just wanted to emphasize this is not for y'all tonight. This is what they abide by every meeting. But more, actually, the council does not have to listen to any comments. That's never the approach they've taken. They always want to listen to the public. And so in that event that you want to speak, of course, keep those in mind. And it's really kind of superfluous to say there's a matter of decorum and order, because we're all adults. We want to know, we want to be spoken to the way we would speak to somebody else and vice versa. So we all know that. It's kind of a thing that we have that in there. But we all know how to approach those things in that way. The mayor has suggested, and I think that prudent, if you have other business, because there may be several speakers. That you'll take the other business up first, besides the police department. Let me say this, there seem to be several folks here. Some may have something to say, some may be wanting to know what's going on. These are always public meetings, of course. If, don't feel compelled just because you took the energy and the fortitude to come up that you have to speak, but you're welcome to speak. In other words, if you're going to say, I agree what so-and-so said, that's okay, but it's not really a debate. Oftentimes, if we get these and people go, well, I want to ask you these questions. Well, if it did that, could be for a long, long, long meeting. So that's not what this is. This is your opportunity to speak. Anything I can add to it in the account? Oh, by the way, she reminded me, we're supposed to get your name and address, and so that we can expedite it a bit. There was a form out front. If you intend to speak, we would like for you to fill out a form and sign it. And so we won't have to take all that time saying, would you say that again? So if we have that. And by the way, because you filled one out does not demand that you speak. That's your choice. You can change your mind if you want to. Anything else?
You'll bring your
Telling me, so that's great. This young lady up here with her hand off is the one that's taking your form. If you got one and you have to turn it in to us, please give us a form so we got it. Yeah. And just instead of making a rush toward it, we can come up to speak on the form and we got you. You may well have suspected I might do something else.
Just to add to that, we were prepared for a lot of comments tonight. And we, as mayor and city council, need to know that your comments are important. What you feel about this situation is important to us. And so we welcome you to come and express how you feel, whether it's pro or con, how you feel toward this matter. So, is there anyone here that would like to speak to any subject other than the police department?
Mayor, before you take one, I apologize. It's always been a 3-minute. In other words, you have 3 minutes to speak, and that's what the legal policy recommended that way. And typically, it says there's 2 speakers on the subject, but I understand the council is not going to hold y'all to that, so that everybody has the opportunity.
Normally, we would not allow anybody, more than 2 people, to speak on the same matter. But, you know, we're giving some leeway here because we know. So again, is there anyone that'd like to speak on any subject matter other than the police department? Okay, if not, we'll let the first comment begin.
I know most of y'all, I wasn't very long there, he had me on twice. The last time, I was in January, I had bit by a dog. There were 3 calls from dispatch where I was at. About 6 or 8 miles from here. So, Officer Kelso come over there, 1 paramedic with my leg, so I got my dress ready. Officer Kelso goes up to the door of the house, talked to the boy, he said, we're going to get him off our property, trespass. All we do was check on his brother. So I started walking back, this truck, I went to dog and I bit. I called dispatch 3 times. By that time, Officer Kelso, and then paramedic come over, he goes to the hospital, help us come back. I asked him, can I get a report? No, can't do it. I drove myself home to the hospital. Not gonna be here. they're back next door later to get stitches put in. It was a hat too. I told them my name. Anyway, I had them down here on Monday or Tuesday. I talked to the mayor. Me and him went around the corner to the chief. By that time, Officer Coles was standing there. And he said, "Why you come down here complaining there?" Chief said, "You'll get me in trouble. You call me a liar?" I got it in his face. Oh, he's taller than I am. I said, "I want that other report." And you said I couldn't get one. Mayor, the chief, I don't know if I got me a report. But I have been up to the hospital several times and seen one of the city clerks up there part of the mercury. And after I got in there, after got those papers, I thought, man, I'm messing up, and I'm gonna do it. I didn't swear to God, I told him that, walked around, got my report, he was still standing there. So I did bring him the mayor twice. I didn't have my leg in. I know this fellow has been his little kid.
Good looking, wasn't
Well, you might kind of go in trouble. That's all I got. Got me laid now?
Thank you.
Sure, I'm going out there. Get coffee, maybe. I let it fall.
Thank you.
Hey, hi, John.
Thank y'all for having us get into the
Thanks, sir.
council. My name's Chris Johnson.
Oh, man,
Talk
great.
about y'all know. Speak up. I am in favor of us keeping a police department, a quality police department that has accountability, rules, and standards. A local police department compared to the county or state or somebody else enforcing laws here is going to increase responsiveness. That, in the worst of the worst situations, is when you wish you did have a local police department. The worst imaginable thing, you have multiple wrecks. If we're handled by the county and there's only one or two officers down here, how quick can they get there and how many lives potentially would be lost? That's right. The ability to tailor the police force to meet the needs of the community and change policies and procedures swiftly as needed for whatever situations arise in Hanceville. New things, whatever, it can be rectified and changed there. A local police force has the ability to and should be familiar with the community and all of its citizens to know which issues are frequent and need priority in addressing. Whether that is from speeding on a specific street, whether that is drug use, homelessness, whatever, the local officers should be connected with its community to know what the needs to satisfy the citizens are. Citizens will have the ability to communicate with the local police chief and the elected officials to be able to more adequately hold the police department accountable. You don't have to go through more red tape to get a meeting with the sheriff to address an issue with an officer or anything else. It can be handled right here, and our business can stay here where it needs to be. A local police force has the ability to immediately respond to and address the concerns of the citizens with the smaller issues, such as speeding. Somebody can call from Helen or Vogel Street and be like, hey, there's a bunch of kids over here at 8 o'clock at night racing and doing things. Another officer can be sent to patrol that area, to deter that crime and anything else that's happening without leading to arrest. If we're out, we're local, and it addresses that citizen's concern. And then that citizen knows that something's being done. They're seeing a police force, they're seeing a presence. It's so much more beneficial to have local police officers here. my knowledge, only the police department can enforce municipal code. There may be another individual that can be hired. Can I have one more minute?
Let's keep in mind that we've got a lot of people who speak, okay, can you real quick,
So,
real quick?
those municipal codes can only be enforced by somebody on the police department, a code enforcer. Those will be unenforceable, any municipal code, without a police department. So if they're abolished, there may be another way around that, but those municipal codes mean something to the citizens that are here.
Thank you very much, and
Thank
I
y'all.
appreciate your comment, and just please keep in mind that 3 minutes will be okay?
My name is Robert. I grew up in Hanceville. I graduated from there in 2016. I earned a degree at Wallace in 2019. Life took me away from this city for a bit, but in 2024 I moved back because at the end of the day, this place is home. This is why I want to raise my daughter, build my future, and give back to the community that shaped me. I now serve on the Hanceville City Planning Commission. I teach government and economics every day. And I'm running for city council because I believe in the potential of this city. Every day I teach my students about leadership, accountability, and the role of government in serving the people. Principles that should guide us as we face the challenges ahead. Part of realizing that potential, though, is ensuring we have a police department that we can trust. What's come to light in recent weeks is not just disappointing, it's disheartening. By the actions of a few within our police department, it has shaken the very trust between law enforcement and the people they are meant to protect. Now, trust is hard to build and easy to destroy. And right now, this trust we have is in pieces. Now, we have a choice. We can ignore the problem, we can burn everything down, or we can rebuild. Now, I'm in favor of rebuilding. I propose the council take decisive action by releasing all officers and staff from duty and bringing in an interim chief of police with help from the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, someone with the integrity and experience to lead a department from the ground up. In the meantime, we rely on the Coleman County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services, giving us the breathing room to do this right. We need to establish stronger hiring practices, implement rural oversight, and recruit officers who reflect the values of Hanceville. However, we must be clear what's at stake. If we simply hand everything over to the county long term, we give up more than just our local police force. We give up control of our own city. Without our own department, our city ordinances will cease to be enforceable. Response times will increase. We lose local accountability. Right now, citizens have concerns about the police department. They can come to this council and demand answers. If we permanently hand over policing to the county, we lose that direct oversight. It weakens our city's identity and independence. A city without its own police force starts to lose its autonomy. It sends a message that we are not capable of managing our own affairs. This is not the Hanceville that I know. This isn't just about cleaning up a mess. It's about making sure we never end up here again. A strong, ethical police department isn't just a law enforcement issue. It's an economic issue. Businesses want to invest in a community where they feel secure. Families want to move to a place where they know their children are safe. This is about the future of Hanceville. We can either let past failures define us, or we can take this moment to set a new standard. One that will say we will not accept corruption, that we demand accountability, and we believe in law enforcement done the right way. This is our chance to rebuild trust, to restore pride in our police department, and to create a force that truly serves and protects. Tonight, I think we should make a hard choice so we don't have to make even harder ones down the road. Thank you.
That we
I know he is already. My question is, and I wish Mr. Crocker was here, EA, because he made a statement with Mr. Gentry that said that the police department being removed was an ongoing, what is it? An ongoing problem, an ongoing safety issue for us. And I'd like to know in what regard was it a threat to our community, which is the word he used, that the police department is going through, the situation is going through. And I'm hoping, I think it was like number 3 on his list of items between him and Gentry when they did the city council meeting. But he said it was an ongoing threat to the community regarding the Hanceville Police Department. And he never elaborated why. Does anybody have any comment on that?
It's really not it's really not a debate if we do.
No, I'm not asking for a debate. I was just,
They will listen to it and then they'll talk about it.
okay, well, I think we do need an answer, especially because that evening I wasn't able to rest. It was like, how is this an ongoing threat? So if anybody here can't answer that question, then I hope you will seek assistance from Mr. Carcar, DA, to explain that comment, because it was also in print on the Facebook groups. The other thing that I would like to throw out there is, knowing how so many of us appreciate Mr. Gentry and the hard work that he's done, I highly recommend that maybe we seek his assistance for somebody in the Coleman County Sheriff's Office right now to recommend somebody to be our interim police chief. Let's not get rid of all of it, get rid of the dirt, get rid of the fraud, because there's a lot of undertones from the community about, I'm sorry, everyone in here being fraudulent, and that there's been a long history of fraud in this community. And I've just been here since last year, so I don't know it. I don't want to know it really. But I think Mr. Gentry has the ability, the quality to recommend a current police chief for us who might even want to be running for sheriff next time that it goes around, that person might be able to start here and clean up the act. My other question is, that hole where they were able to access the evidence, who in here for the city council knew about that hole and knew that the evidence was being held in that room? Mr. Sawyer?
Well, here again, this is not a place for,
This isn't a place, I thought this was for, and I'm just,
this is a place for you to make your personal comments
and that's all?
of how you get
And they may,
time to comment.
they will have the meeting afterwards and they will consider all of these issues at some juncture.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay, well, that's my concern, is how many people knew about it, and are they going to be held accountable? Because I know if it was me and my job when I was working, I would definitely be held accountable. And I just think that's right. And this is for Mr. Crocker, I guess. I really do hope that he holds the police officers to the full extent of the law. If you're going to put somebody life in prison for robbery, I think we can go ahead and put these guys in for life for what they've done and for the oath that they have taken. And that's my true hope, because that's where they belong.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. My name is Hillary Mann O'Brien, and I am a fourth or third generation Hanceville native. My aunt and I were debating that in the car on the ride over. I'm also a fellow graduate of Hanceville High School. I attended Wallace State before graduating from the University of Alabama. I flew in from Tampa today because I care about my hometown. Even though I decided to move away and pursue another life, I was moved to attend this meeting tonight to attest to the fact there are good, intelligent people that live here and will live a positive change. They're in this very room. They are teaching at the high school I graduated from, some of my classmates, and small business owners. I now own my childhood home and would love to see downtown Hanceville grow and thrive into something safe and beautiful beautiful and walk to just like it was back the way I remember it and my ancestors remember it. So I just want to reiterate that I'm all for a safe, growing, thriving future of Hanceville. Thank you.
My name is Attorney Roderick Van Daniel. First, I'm on behalf of the citizens here, for the Hanceville community, for the concern for the police department and the corruption. For these citizens been harmed. These citizens' rights have been taken away from them. These citizens been facing injustice from the police officers here. Today they asking for fairness. Today they asking for a good police department with good officers who are going to care about their concerns. These families have mothers that's been hurt. These families have had fathers who've been hurt by these officers. These families have had sons and grandmothers and grandfathers have been hurt by the officers for the Hanceville Police Department. These citizens just want transparency and they want accountability. They want accountability for the actions of these police officers, what they done to them. Your citizens believe in the police department. Your citizens believe in the oath that the police officers said that they would protect and serve the community that they live in. They have hope moving forward that the mayor and the city councilman will move forward with a police department. They're going to care about the citizens' concerns. Because this is America. This is America. This is the greatest country in the world. And we got to believe today in what's right. Right is right, even if everyone is against it. Wrong is wrong, even if everyone is for it. Today, Mayor, City Councilman, I'm just asking you to do what's right for your citizens, for Hanceville, also Coleman County, for the state of Alabama, and across the whole United States of America, and do what's fair for them. I believe in the police officers. They're needed. Make sure you keep the police department, make sure they train, and they care about their citizens. Thank you all for listening to me.
Hello, I know most of y'all. My name is Denise Brown. I have 3 boys, and I went to school here. I've lived here since I was 4. And I know most of the people here. But I have 3 boys, and one of them, every time he left to go to work, Hanceville would stop him and give him tickets. And he could not get the tickets paid up. On the department here, Rusty knows this. It's all true. It was on the board out here in the Hanceville Police Department. Do not pull over my son again. Because he had so many
many tickets, but the boy had to work. And everybody knew he had to work. Everybody knew his truck. Everybody knew who he was. Everybody knew my boys. But they still pulled him over because he had so many tickets, and there was one cop that helped my son get rid of those tickets and get his license. One. And then this judge dropped a couple charges on my son. But there's several cops here that harassed my boys, all 3 of my boys. 2 of my boys worked for the city. Correct? I know that. A lot of y'all know that. I love my town. I love Hanceville. I love this police station. I love this city hall. But we need to get the corruption out of here, and we need to get in the right people to do the right jobs. I was proud of my little city. I'm still going to live here in Hanceville. But I want this done and over with. Because I'm tired of the harassment myself. And I'm tired of the corruption here in Hanceville. A lot of you are corrupted. I've lived here. I know. I don't care what you say. Some of the officers that just got what they got, they are harassed my family. They've harassed me. I hope they get what they deserve. I got more story to tell, and this ain't the place for it. But I've got more story to tell. But this that I just told is true. And most of you know what I just said is true. Is true. And if you knew his name, and you look it up, what I just said here is the God's honest truth. Put my hand on the Bible. It's true. They was harassing my kids. And also, Hanceville Police said, they had a video of one of my boys banging on the youth pastor's window. That's BS. This pastor here knows me from years ago. He knows I raised 3 boys by myself. You know who I am, sir. I raised some good boys. So I do not have nothing to hide. This man knows me right here, too. I don't have a thing to hide. I've lived here all my life, and one of you up on that stand right now went to school with, you know me. I'm so brokenhearted over my town. But this is wrong. And I want it to stop, but I got more to tell. And Mayor, you said this was not the place for it. That's right, we ain't got the time. But we need to find the time, sir. Yeah, we are. But we've been limited for years, sir. We've been limited for years here. That's right, I know there is. But it's time that we clean out this department and get more good policemen in here that don't harass us. And put innocent people in jail, in prison, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Dan William, the attorney, and Tanya. I know most everybody knows me here, but some don't. For the ones that don't know me, I'm Janice Shelton. I have lived here in the city of Hanceville over 40 years. And yes, I'm heartbroken. No one knows I've done this, but I have talked to different citizens and businesses about what they think should be done here with the police department and stuff. I have yet met the first person that wants to see the police department dismantled. I have people said they don't feel safe because the police department's gone because of the response time of the county getting to them. I think it's time that y'all take time, don't make hasty decisions. Take time to sit back and revamp and see what everything is that's going on. Get us a new chief, get the officers. We have good employees here still in the city of Hanceville. Everybody's not a bad person. If you was to investigate police departments and stuff everywhere, you're gonna find some corruption everywhere. It is, well, that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna say one little thing that happened this past weekend, and it's a family member of mine, I'm not gonna call her name, that's in the real estate business. And the garden homes up behind Blue and Gray, she had a contract on one with an elderly couple that was from not around here. Well, she got a call this weekend. They stopped the deal because of Hanceville being so corrupt. They did not want to move in a town where there's so much stuff. That hurts me. Because I do not feel unsafe living at my street. And that's the way people they're saying, they feel afraid and dangerous. I've never felt dangerous and afraid to live at my house. But it is hurting more than just, it's hurting businesses. But that's just one of the things that happened. And I hate that it happened. And I know y'all don't have any control of that. But that's what people on the outside is seeing. They look at us like this little corrupt town that's not good to live here. But we have a lot to be proud of. We've got a wonderful college. We've got a good high school. And like I said, there's so much to be done here, and Hanceville can continue to grow. I just retired after working many years at the revenue office in Coleman County. And I know I hadn't been involved like I should, but let me just tell you something. I can talk. And people that know me know I can. But I just want to say, step back, and like I said, employees that's here, step back and listen to what they have to say, if they have whatever to say, because we do have some good people working here. Thank y'all.
I promise this will be short and sweet. My name is Teresa Rivera. I am a citizen of the city of Hanceville, Alabama. I've lived here close to 6 years, and I moved here on purpose to be a part of this beautiful small town atmosphere. I love living here. I love working here. My recommendation to the board is to simply wait, make a decision, but do research and do research on what other small towns are doing to maintain their police department. I recommend that we keep our police department. Let's keep the revenue in this town. Let's have paying jobs in this town. Let's not give it to Coleman. And that's it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Daria Sullivan, and I have just recently moved to Hanceville in August of 2024. One of the things that absolutely needs to be addressed before any decisions are made are what are the financial consequences of farming your police department out? If you give it to Coleman, will Coleman put a satellite office in Hanceville? What will the response times be? How long will I have to wait for someone to come and help me? What will happen if there is no police department? What are the alternatives? Is Coleman the only alternative? Have you looked at anything else? I know you haven't had a lot of time, but the truth is the buck has to stop somewhere, and it stops up here with all of you. I'm not a novice here. I've been an attorney for 33 years. I understand negligence, and I understand responsibility. And every single person sitting up here has a responsibility to the citizens of Hanceville. The easy answer is not always the best answer. And there needs to be some type of research and transparency. I came up here the day after the arrests because I wanted to know, if I call 911, who's answering? Do you know what I was told? I don't know. That was the answer I got. Transparency is key. And you are all responsible. So you need to meet your responsibility and take care of the citizens of Hanceville. Because right now, if you Google Hanceville, the only thing that comes up is this mess. It has affected our property values. It has affected our ability to sell our homes. It has affected businesses looking to come and invest. If you were looking to invest in a city in Alabama, would you come to Hanceville right now? Probably not. So these are all issues that everyone needs to think long and hard on before any decisions are made. Because whatever decisions you all make affect every single person in this room and everyone who's standing outside who can't hear a damn thing that's going on here. And my first complaint is the manner in which this meeting was held. I find it hard to believe that there was no other venue available except one that couldn't fit the people who wanted to hear what was going on and had a right. You should not tell me that I can Facebook. I can go on Facebook and stream the meeting? Sure.
Come on.
You can verify this. I had already spoken with Dr. Carter of Wallace College this past, Thursday, yesterday, or that week. She had already made arrangements for us to meet. We had a meeting room where we could all get in, but on an oversight, you'd have to give a 7-day notice statute before you can change the meeting places. And we did not meet that deadline.
Okay, you know what?
So
I think
it was a oversight with all that's been going on. We just overlooked it and we missed the deadline. But we did intend to have this meeting at Wallace College.
well, to meet the 7-day oversight, you could have postponed the meeting to Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right.
Why couldn't that be done?
Well, it's already, it's scheduled, it's statute. We can't just change the meeting date.
Do you not have a civic
We meet
center?
on the second and third.
Is there a civic center available?
Yes, got the armory.
Is there another site that's available besides Wallace College? You don't have a room bigger than this?
We couldn't meet anywhere else except right here, because this is our normal meeting facility. And in order to change the meeting facility to any other location, we had to give the public a 7-day notice for them to know that, and we missed that deadline.
Okay, well, trust me, I believe the public would have waited another 7 days
Yes.
in order to be able to hear what was going
You know,
on.
we're here and we set this meeting, the comments and all, to hear from the people, because we're interested in what you have to say. And, you know,
Everyone here
that's what we
should be
do.
very interested in what the people have to say.
That's why our plans were to be here till midnight, if that's what it takes.
That's right, you know, we're here. We're here. If it takes till midnight.
Or after.
We're interested in what you have to say.
Okay, well, that's what I have to say.
Now you take the question.
That there's a lot of people that aren't being able to hear all this, you might consider having a
Yes,
second meeting and having it in a different place. during that time, I have gone through some things myself where I was treated unfairly and unjustly by the police department. It was not the ones who have been arrested, but the ones before him. And I know what it feels like to be abused by them. I've never had a speeding ticket or anything else, but I was put in a chokehold in my yard and almost killed. And I can assure you it happened. I've got proof of it. And that sort of thing never needs to happen anywhere. And it happened because of things that certain family members did. They lied and caused it to happen. It should never have happened. They should have talked to me and we could have worked things out. Instead, I lived in my car for 2 months and I was harassed every day by the police department here, every day. And it's not a fun thing to live that way, I can assure you. But I definitely believe in the police department. I believe in Hanceville. I believe in you guys. And I believe that y'all are going to find a solution to this that will be the one we need. And I pray to God you do, because I went to Coleman for help when all this went on, and I didn't receive the justice and the help there that I needed. I went to the victim's right advocate, and he was helping me. Then he backed out of helping me, and he told me that his job was on the line, that he couldn't do anything to help me. So personally, I feel like Coleman County has got some problems of its own. I don't think we need it here. I think it needs to be someone other than Coleman. And I just ask that you guys are very, very careful and pray about it and check it out thoroughly before you do anything. We're dealing with it, so we'll deal with it till we get it done. Thank God for y'all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Some of you already know who I am. My name is Brian Campbell. I've lived in Hanceville 62 years, and I was a victim of this police department. I will preface my remarks by saying, not one day, not 1 minute in my life have I ever been in any kind of trouble, maybe a speeding ticket. On May the 20th, 2023, I was caring for my wife. Some of you know me. I've known some of you since you were children. I was caring for my wife with Alzheimer's and my disabled daughter. On that day, an incident happened at my residence. Hanceville was dispatched. 2 officers approached my home, and I didn't know why they were there. I inquired why they were there. Did not get a response, so I proceeded to close the door to my house. Upon doing so, one of the officers took his foot, jammed it in the door, and forced his way into my home. Asked me to step outside. Upon which time, there were 2. One of them was very professional. I have told him countless times how I was so pleased with the way he behaved. The other one was the officer from hell. He's not currently on this force because during all this, I prevailed in a lawsuit that took over 1 year and $17,000 of my money to defend myself. That officer hit me from behind, of which I can't hardly still walk, with his knee, took me to the ground, and beat me mercifully. My attorneys have the photographs. Coleman Hospital has the records. I was handcuffed and roughed up really bad. Placed in a police vehicle. It was May, so it wasn't very hot. It was not running. No air conditioning on, but I began to hyperventilate. I'm a 2-time survivor of cancer and a heart patient. While I was in that vehicle, when one of them finally returned to the vehicle, I was in real bad shape. An ambulance was dispatched and the paramedics. Well, the only problem I had was I couldn't breathe. Once I got air, I was fine. I was then taken by the officer who brutally beat me up to Hanceville jail. On the way to the jail, and I was never allowed to explain anything to him. I was never told I was under arrest. I was never told anything until I got on my way Well, actually, till I got here. On the way, that officer said to me, men like you are nothing but pieces of human increment. And that's not the words he used. I was married to my wife 52 years. I never touched her, ever. The incident involved, and I was trying to tell them, with her Alzheimer's, she didn't know what she was doing and tried to exit the vehicle while moving. I pulled her back by her hair, and I was so admitted to that. And that constituted, in your officer's opinion, domestic violence. Anyways, and that was all perpetrated by a 911 call where the person hung up. When I got to the jail, my abuse continued. Maybe it's procedure, I don't know. I was handcuffed to a bench right out there for 3 hours. I say this somewhat shamefully, but I'm a cancer survivor and I'm incontinent. And while I was there, I desperately needed to go to the bathroom. I requested from the officer, and you know, the city hall is right down the hall. And I was handcuffed, was denied. I urinated on myself. Then I was placed in filthy rags, and I'll tell you, I've traveled all around this world, and that's no lie. As a buyer for a major retailer, I've been in every country you can imagine. The facilities in this jail, and I hope they've changed, were filthy. Were feces on the wall, feces on the water fountain, feces all over the floor. Looked like it hadn't been cleaned in 5 years. Have any of you ever went in that jail and looked at it? I don't care if you're a criminal, you deserve better treatment than that. I was denied food and water because on the way to jail I said, why don't you just shoot me and take me out of my misery? I was put on suicide watch. No food, no water, no nothing. A kind lady jailer come up and had seen my record. She said, Mr. Campbell, I'll get you some water and they don't have to know. She said, I looked at your record. You've never been in any kind of trouble. I said, yes, ma'am, when I was younger, I got speeding tickets, but that's the extent of it. Long story short, I finally talked to one of the 3 chiefs that's no longer here. Ha. This gentleman, chief, was a reasonable man, and I finally got to explain my story to him. And he was very empathetic, and I know it was only my word against your 2 officers. And he said to me, I will make a phone call and see what I can do, because I found out that my stay would be 2 days in jail, 48 hours, and I was charged with 2 felonies, domestic violence and resisting. I was told my bond was $2,000. So they proceeded to put me in that filthy jail. I spent the night in that jail. Next day, the chief did as he said. My magistrate came down. It was a Sunday. I had the money, cash, on me, $2,000. She said, pay your bond, and you can go home. I went to pay my bond, and this may be the procedure. If it is, I've never been in trouble. I don't know. But I was told, we cannot take cash on the weekend. So that told me you can't even trust your own police department with cash. But if you use a credit card, we'll let you go home. Reached in, got my credit card. Oh, but by the way, do you council members know this? It's $200 more if you use your credit card. So I paid. I'm ready to go home. By the way, by this time I was not allowed a phone call. I was never told anything about my charges. I called my son. Some of you know him. He's an upstanding citizen, was once a manager of LP down here. He's now a private contractor. He said, Daddy, they're not going to let you go home. I said, what do you mean they're not going to let me go home? He said, well, they told me that you're going to be transferred to Coleman Regional. I said, why? They have you under a suicide watch. You have to be evaluated. So Sunday evening, and believe me, I'm no harm to anybody, and was certainly no threat to those 2 policemen. Either one of them could have taken me easily. I'm at Coleman Regional. I'm kept overnight. When the doctors saw my beat up body, they asked me, what could have possibly happened? And I told them, the only good thing that came out of that is the nicer of the 2 officers was the one who transported me. On the way to the hospital, I said, young man, tell me how you could possibly think that he could think that I was resisting. His exact words, and I'll never forget them, because my wife and my daughter, my wife was dying then. He said his perception was that you were resisting. I said, you were there. Long story short, it came time for discovery. I didn't know anything about discovery, paid two attorneys. They said, here's what's going to happen. They got to present their evidence, and you can present your evidence. Well, Kathy, a lot of you know my wife, Kathy, a better woman never was. She was on her deathbed. And I called up my attorney, Johnny Berry, and I said, I'm supposed to be there. He said, Brian, don't worry about it. He said, me and Brandon will be there. You don't have to be there. So I stayed with my wife with hospice. I wasn't there. The time my wife died, a month and a day later, my daughter died. On the night I was sending pictures to your home, 2 more Hanceville officers came to my residence to arrest me again. They came to arrest me for bond forfeiture because I didn't show up on that court hearing. My attorneys were both there. They represented me. I paid them well. I'm making these arrangements and getting ready to be taken to jail. My daughter was being buried the very next day. Fortunately, I know Kenneth now, and I wasn't in any shape to call him, but my son Kevin called, and he said, look, my daddy, we just lost my sister. You know, he's a good man. Anybody knows him. He said, they just leave him alone? Never told me what the warrant was for, by the way. Kenneth told him, or I don't know if it was Kenneth or who it was, someone later told me, the chief told him to just let me turn myself in. Okay, I called my attorneys and told them what happened. I still don't know what the warrant's for. I didn't know it was bond forfeiture. I go on to the cemetery and I bury my daughter. On that day that I buried my daughter, I went to Hanceville, down here to this courtroom, and that judge, who was a joke, that sat right there, read me the riot act and told me, had me handcuffed immediately, and told me he's going to put me under the jail. You were remodeling, so I sat handcuffed out here in the hall for another 3 or 4 hours. During that time, I was told I was being arrested for bond forfeiture. I said, what bond? They said, well, you didn't appear for the discovery. No argument from my part would be heard, because I'm just an average citizen, like all these people here, an innocent average citizen. I was transported to county. I sat in county the night of my the night of my daughter, she was buried, sat in county, and was going to be put in jail under no bond, 0, because I forfeited my bond, allegedly. My son knows the sheriff real well and the chief deputy. He called and he said, look, I don't know what's going on. You know, I'm not going to say my dad's innocent or guilty, but we just buried my sister. And they told me to disrobe, go take a shower, put me in the rubber shoes. Well, get ready to put me in the orange jumpsuit. And the desk deputy said, Mr. Campbell, today's your lucky day. And I'm thinking, you just don't know. It's 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I said, well, tell me. He said, you've been released, ROR. I think that's released on your own recognizance. And I was released. We come back in front of this same judge. It continues almost for an entire year at more financial expense. And I'll conclude what I have to say by your police, untrained, uninformed, and you, like the lady before me said, you're the accountable ones. I was a manager of a major retail company, top level, and the buck stopped at me. The decisions to make these people in the roles they're in fall on each of you. And I ask again, have any of you ever looked inside that jail? And if it's changed, I'm shocked. But anyways, what I have to say don't amount to much, but I got my day and I could say my piece. My son said, well, at least 100 people said, you ought to sue them. Well, in the first place, I'm not the kind of man that sues anybody. I've never done anybody wrong in my entire life. I'm a Christian and I believe in treating people Christ-like.
Amen.
Okay? And I didn't want a pound of flesh, but I never got so much as I'm sorry this happened to you. And Mr. Sawyer, I've known you a long time. Another incident happened, and I had you come to my residence. At that time, you brought the new chief with you on this other issue. I told you a little bit about this story. Your exact words to me in the conversation, what do you expect me to do? And my response was, so help me. If you've got a Bible, I'll swear on it. I said, what I want you to do is clean up this town. Clean up this mess. I said, the people of this town deserve it. I'm just one individual. And nobody really cares what I have to say. Imagine if it happened to you, losing your child and your wife, and then being drugged through this crap, and then financial expense on top of that. You know what your response was to me? Do you remember, Jimmy? Well, if I'm lying, I'm dying. You looked at me and said, that's why this man right here is the new chief. He is going to clean it up.
Shit. Shit.
He cleaned it up, all right.
Yeah, he did.
And I would have never said another word about this. In fact, my son said, Daddy, don't sue him. You've been through too much. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you more. I can barely walk as it is from the injury to my back from that officer. And I agreed with him after praying a lot on it. But when I saw this nonsense, I said, maybe my story's not good. And maybe they'll put me off as a fool like some other people that have stories. But I swear to God, every word I told you is the truth. One thing I left out. At that time, you had 8 police officers. Because the chief told me himself, you had 8. That day, while I was sitting in that squad car in my driveway, and there's a man in this room that can testify to the fact who's my neighbor, 5 squad cars showed up, 7 of your 8 officers, and you would have thought I was a murderer or a drug dealer. Fact. Then one of them told my neighbor in this room, who I don't know if he's going to speak or not, but that night before I buried my daughter, or the funeral, when they came with that warrant and they left, my good neighbor came over to check on me, see if I was okay. When he was walking through my yard, and if I'm misquoting you, sir, you know who you are? He said, one of them officers stopped me, or I asked him what's going on, and he said, Hanceville, please. We're not through with Mr. Campbell yet. Is that professionalism? I say no. So I conclude my remarks. I love this town. I wouldn't have brought my family here and lived all this time if I didn't. And some of you lived here longer than I have. It just got to have an input to it. If it don't, it's just a continuation of the same thing. And it's happened too many times in my lifetime. And it got worse in the last 3 years. Anyways, I conclude my remarks. I appreciate your time. I hope this sinks in. Yes, I'm mad and angry and upset. Put yourself in my position. How would you feel?
Very good.
The one that beat me up so bad they let go immediately. I've still got the paperwork in my home. The other officer was a good officer. I will not deny he was a wonderful police officer. And he may be one of the ones they kept. But he was professional right down the line. I got it wrong. I don't know. But I'd be glad to give it to the press or anyone else.
Very good.
My name is Stanley Sansing. I live over in Edmondson. Tomorrow's the 13th anniversary of when I signed the papers to buy this house. About 6 or 8 years ago, I started asking y'all to help me, and I asked all these police chiefs, Kenneth Nail, the mayor, Jimmy, Mr. Sawyer, everybody, to slow this traffic down on Edmondson. Not a thing. I've also asked y'all and told y'all, stop spending this kind of money on these Barney Fives and what their priorities were. Y'all sat up there and didn't listen to me a bit. I hope y'all listen to that man, and I hope you listen to the grand jury better than y'all have listened to me. And today I called the Alabama League of Municipalities and talked to an attorney named Mary Elizabeth, and she said if y'all had wanted to change the venue on this meeting to the Civic Center where we could have gotten in and heard and spoke, you would have only had to have a 24-hour post. And that's from the League of Municipalities. But y'all don't want any transparency. I've been to more council meetings than probably anybody in Hanceville but Nolan Bradford, and I know y'all don't tell nothing. I came up here and even talked to see about the budget this year, and when I left, I didn't know any more than the people that stayed at home, except Miss Tucker wanted to give a few more dollars to the civic stands, and that was fine. But y'all prepared no outline for the budget. Y'all don't tell anything. Y'all just sit here and don't say nothing, don't help nothing, and I hope y'all listen to me. I hope y'all listen to the grand jury and that gentleman better than y'all have me, because y'all hadn't done a thing for me. Amen. Thank y'all. Amen. Amen.
Hello, I'm Charles Wright. I have moved to Hanceville about a year ago, and I guess the only thing I'd like to say is I think you should take the grand jury's recommendation. I think it would be more cost-effective to have Coleman County take over the police function here and also the jail. I think it would just be a load off of your hands, and you should consider it, and I'd be interested to know how much cost savings that might bring the town. That's all I have. Thank you.
My name is Daniel Joseph Davis. My family. My name is Daniel Joseph Davis. My family and I, we moved here in 1974 from Justice, Illinois. My mom and dad, they were born here in Alabama. And they wanted to get away from that up there. And we moved here in 1974. I graduated high school over here in 1986, right here at Hanceville High School. Required reading years ago was Animal Farm. And there's a quote in there, all animals are created equal, but some animals are created more equal than others. Pull the plank out of your eye before you pull the splinter out of mine. And I want to do the same thing. I want to pull the plank out of my eye before I pull the splinter out of yours. And I'd like to address the issue of, according to reports, the mood-altering drugs that allegedly. I've been pulled over by the police before, and I've complied. I follow orders. I was the United States Navy Seabee. There's nothing that we couldn't accomplish. There's nothing that I cannot repair. If you give me the proper tools and the proper training, there's nothing that I cannot accomplish. Nothing. I learned to follow orders, but the orders, they need to be righteous too. When we're pulled over, if we exercise our Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, we're suspicious. We get threatened with arrest if we don't comply. We're complying. You cannot comply yourself out of tyranny. So now some of this makes sense when you're speaking with a law enforcement officer, which they're my neighbor too. You're my neighbor. I'm your neighbor. See yourself in me. See the humanity in me. I'm the same as you. I want the same thing you do. And I want to say this too. I don't need the government to keep me safe. I can keep myself safe. This was evident to me 24 years ago. Your city, county, state, and federal, I can keep myself safe now. That's the way I feel. And I want to say this too. I left a piece of me when I served in the Navy. I left it in the Aleutian chain of islands. I'm a compensated veteran. I served my country. I didn't serve my country to come home to this. And I want to say this. I want to say, how dare you? I want to say that. How dare you? But I also want to leave room for redemption too. I want to say, and I want to bring this up too. Our lawmakers down in Montgomery, if you don't know this, there's a Safe Alabama package, Back the Blue Protection Act, civil liability protections. This bill would repeal the existing peace officer immunity law and replace it with expanded civil liability protections for law enforcement officers performing their official duties. Under this new protection, a law enforcement officer would be shielded from a lawsuit unless he or she was acting recklessly without law enforcement justification, or he or she was violating a person's clearly established rights. Criminal protections. A law enforcement officer would be immune from prosecution for on-the-job use of force unless his or her conduct violates a person's constitutional rights against excessive force. The 8th Amendment of the Constitution says, the 8th Amendment, forgive me, I'm a product of public education in Alabama. Cruel and unusual punishment.
Sir, we got to stick to the subject, okay?
Yes, sir. Just one last thing, if you'll allow me, just this one last thing. Law enforcement dependent scholarships. They want us to pay for law enforcement's, their children's college education. I don't want to pay for your children's college education if this is what the product that we're going to receive from it. I don't want, they're going to use public funds to pay for college tuition for the law enforcement's children. I disagree with that. And I want to say this. This police department, I don't sleep well already. This police department came to my house 3 times. 3 times. And there were all 3 mistakes. They came, the former police chief walked up behind me in my hobby shop, screamed at me, claimed that he thought that I was the burglar. I wasn't quick-witted enough to say, sir, chief, you're a year late because I had a $4,000 air compressor stolen a year before that. And even before that, I made every effort. Every time I saw the chief, I would say, hey, chief, hey, chief. And when he scared me that day, it's like he didn't recognize me. The second time, They banged on my door at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was having coffee, checking my email. The police officer was misdirected from going to 91 at Tony Kretschmar's instead of, he was misdirected to my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's alarming to have someone beating on your door. And then 9 o'clock at night, another one. But it was 2 law enforcement that showed up that time. 2. And they beat on the front door and the back door. You talk about going to DEFCON 1. I was at DEFCON 2, and I was on high alert.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you to close it out, okay?
Yes, sir.
We've got other people who want to speak.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. And actually, Mayor, I tried to come and talk to you about this, and you did the same thing that you're doing now. I'll talk to you later about it. So that happened. My name is on the roll. I came here and that night, and I tried to talk to you about it. But this is our government. So we have something worth fighting for here, but we can fix something beyond just Hanceville too. God bless America. And you're my neighbor. You're my neighbor. And I wish you the best. I love you. We graduated together. Hey, Denise. Hey, Denise. Hey.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Allen Scott. I have been an employee by the City of Hanceville for 15 years. In my 15 years here, I have poured my heart and soul into everything I do. I have coordinated events such as Mud Creek Arts and Crafts Festival. I have headed up the Kids Night Out and made sure the children in this community had school supplies. And I have also done the Kids Fisherama along with the senior citizens. There has been wrongdoing by former officers, and I want to emphasize former officers that none of the current police department employees condone. And the Hanceville citizens' trust has been lost. I mean, it has been lost, and it deeply saddens me. So I ask, how can we change it? How can Hanceville Police Department have a police department? We need a police department. Appropriate actions have been made to remove those former officers where a clean slate has already begun. No current officer has ties, relationships, or extensive work history with the former officers that have been charged. There is a plan for success, and we were already working to make those changes needed. You have a small circle of officers, dispatchers, and myself, which is about 12 of us. And we have been clear for any wrongdoing and any possible accusations that we have a commitment for the future. We want to see our police department move forward. Going forward, we propose to uphold a crucial element, to have a policy manual is equally monitored and upheld by the mayor, the legal team, and HR. If you don't have that, you don't have accountability, and you don't have any control over the department. Extensive background checks vet potential candidates, but strict policies keeps misconduct at a minimum and corrects or removes officers from the department when policy standards are not consistently met. This can be done and should be done in a reset of the Hanceville Police Department. Having a rotating citizens advisory council with members selected by the mayor, the council, PD leaders, and the fire department leaders to review citizens' complaints, policy recommendations, and violations to help us make our town what it needs to be. We need to assign a council member to as a police department liaison, to where they're in constant communication with the chief on all matters. The chief needs to have a liaison from the council that they need to report everything to. Y'all need to know everything that's going on in your police department. Y'all have a right to know everything that's going on in your police department. So in closing, with total respect to the grand jury, their opinion and their recommendations obviously should be considered. But what about the citizens and business owners of Hanceville? Therefore, the people of Hanceville should have a say for what they want and how they think the reset can happen. Thank you.
My name is Rashan Fullenwater. I'm the 911 Dispatch and Corrections Supervisor for the Police Department. I come to you today to inform you on how we have improved and how we intend to continue improving should we be given the opportunity. No one employed with the police department actually lives here in Hanceville. We choose to come here every day and give it our very best to serve you because we love the citizens of this city. We do not want to see your police department fall, which is why 12 of us have chosen to stay and remain loyal to you. Upon my promotion in September of '24, we have been updating, implementing new and improved policies and procedures department-wide. We have been faced with challenges of resourcing free training due to the lack of funding, even though state required for both officers and dispatch personnel. We have had ample equipment removed, and due to this, we have been forced to locate old equipment to use for not only our safety, but yours. We have informed new field training programs for both patrol officers and 911 dispatchers, including jail school safety trainings and other requirements. We have reported and had conversations with APOST Radius about past and present officers. We have demanded loyalty, integrity, and trust, which has resulted in the departure of some employees. Unfortunately, this has led to staffing issues, longer response times, and has risked the safety of our officers while in the field. Our hiring protocol has changed, but is also in the process of continued change. We have expressed our concerns to the appropriate leaders in reference to the jail and the possible liabilities that can surface due to the limited staffing that we have. We all agree that having inmates is a safety concern and have asked to house them at CCDC, but no change was made. Due to this, we work the jail the best we can with the limited resources that we have. The citizens and business owners of Hanceville deserve to have a police department who quickly responds to their calls, cares about their well-being and their safety. Since fall of 2024, we have been actively making changes to better this department, and we ask for the opportunity to continue. In closing, the death of 911 Dispatch Supervisor Christopher Willingham was an unfortunate and tragic time for not only our police department, but also for his family. The accusations assumed by the grand jury were disrespectful and unnecessary. Thank you for your time.
Someone's left their phone. All right. I appreciate this opportunity to come up here and speak. I am a daughter of Hanceville. I'm Sherry Saunders. I graduated from Hanceville. I graduated from Wallace State. For the past 20, 25 years,
Along with the work that I've done, I've been an advocate for many reasons. For some of the reasons that we are talking about this evening, I want to share. Mr. Campbell, I was friends with your daughter Angela since second grade. I was at her funeral. I want everyone in this room to know that it was a sad moment that we were burying Angela. A wonderful person. If y'all don't know Angela Campbell, she had spina bifida. She lived a very hard life, had a lot of things happen to her, and she smiled every day, went to church as often as she could, and loved the Lord. And if y'all don't know that about Mr. Campbell, then I don't know that we even know who you are if you don't know your people. So we know that Mr. Campbell's a fine person. I know Angela Campbell was a fine person, and I cried when we buried her. When we buried her mother right before that, it was tragic. And I want you to know that although I had some information, Angela had not spoken to me about everything that happened, and until I just heard this man share that story, I have to say that as a daughter of Hanceville, I am embarrassed to say this is my town. Some of the activisms that I have done for some of these people that y'all probably don't even know because it's been for so long. But I want to share just a couple of things. First, I stand before you right now. I'm a state employee, been working for the state for 10 years, graduated from Wallace State with a criminal justice degree. And I want to put in my application for your new police department if we're going to do so. If we're going to move forward in this town, I don't want you to move forward without me. Because of the people in this room that I have helped over the years and asked a dime for it. Y'all know that the governor appointed me to a council for developmental disabilities a year ago because of the work that I do for the disabled in this community. And Angela Campbell was one of those disabled. And her father, if you could not see, standing here shaking, has a disability also. And that disability meant that he should have been handled differently. The officer should have took a moment. But that we know. But what I want to share is a few other things that have happened in the past that I hope that we can move past and move forward from. So I'm putting in my application to become an officer in your department in this town so that we can move forward with high integrity people who have listened to these people for years and assisted them to get their voice heard from you guys. So I stand before you to talk about two issues. You have a lawsuit right now from a former officer, Hatter. This officer was a problem officer when he was brought to Hanceville. When he left Walker County, he left because there was another dead officer, one of his best friends. In fact, it was his boss at the drug task force, his boss. There was questions under his death that they called also a suicide. We know that our Officer Hatter left a week after this dispatcher unfortunately lost his life in this department. We have a history since Bob Long came in as chief of our department. Since Bob Long, we have a history of hiring low integrity people, probably low IQ, and I mean no disrespect. What I am trying to say is when you want to move forward and you want to make changes in this department, a town that I've been in since 1981, and many people will share stories that they have experienced of themselves in this town, but let me share this. My family member was working at the McDonald's right up the street with the daughter of Kenneth Nail, the former mayor who also lost his job and got arrested. What this woman did, this young child, she must have been told by her daddy. So I'm going to share a story that a lot of people in this room may not know, but I know a few do since they've talked to me on Facebook. She was being used as a informant in the drug task force. She, on the duty with my family member and a couple of other kids working there, were told by her that she had a joint. If they could all just go out to her car and smoke it, everything would be great, and we'd come back and make some more chicken nuggets. But what happened was this. The daughter of the mayor who supplied the joint was sitting in her car when Hanceville, whoop, 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 pulled up, 3 cop cars, yanking kids out of this car, everybody getting shackled up, everybody's going to jail for marijuana, but the daughter of the mayor. Why would we want to move forward in a community and ask for a police force when the integrity of it is you got the mayor's family setting kids up at a McDonald's for smoking a joint that she brought herself? We need to make sure that when we bring in this new department, or if we allow the sheriff's department, I would love to work for the sheriff's department as long as I was put into this town, so that I could be a part of moving this town forward, helping to heal some of the wounds that have long been in play. Because I know that there are people in this room that has family members that may have directly been affected by officers, their testimony, and illegalities of their investigations that has now placed them in prisons. I know people have lost their children because of allegations made by officers in this department. So I ask humbly, as a daughter of Hanceville, as someone who's standing before you, allow me to help you move forward. Allow me to help you bring back integrity into this department. Because if there is one thing I am known for, it is not my good looks or my hair, because y'all know I've had a ponytail since 1992. I don't know how to do much more than this right here. But what I can do is work in a department, help to build a team, be a part of that team, and show leadership so that everybody on the team wants to be on the same page that I am. High speed. I'm a veteran. I'm a bulldog. Allow the right people to move forward in this community, in this department, if you see fit to bring it forward into this community. And I appreciate this opportunity to speak. And please say a prayer for those people whose lives will never get back the way they used to be before this department made decisions that it made. Let's pray and let's try to heal the wounds of this community moving forward. Put the right person in a job. And my name, once again, is Sherry Saunders, and I'll give you my application today.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
No one else?
I ain't got a paper, but I'd like to speak. It's been common, going the rules all night, going over the minutes, non-citizen speak, so if you allow me to speak, I wish you.
Are you a resident of the
Yes,
city?
sir, I am.
Come to the microphone. Microphone in here. Get it. I want to hear.
It's plain and simple. A grand jury knows more than everybody in this room, and a district attorney. Corruption's nothing new here. These microphones have been in this town since I was a kid. There was a chief, a police, extorting votes, news cameras here. Taser problem, it's constant. And the people that's been hired to be a police here, a lot of times were a criminal before they got here. And a lot of times, if they weren't when they got here, they will be when they leave. An 18-person grand jury knows more than everybody in here. And for it to even be, I don't even know how you can even consider ignoring that. That's my
Which name?
My name is Michael Ray Walker, 1601 Ashwater Street. Walker, W-A-L-D-R-O-T. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Anyone else?
I don't have a paper either, and I wasn't gonna say anything, but what the hell. My name's Andrew Podner, P-O-D-N-E-R. Andrew, I know three of you. You've been in my office, right across the street from the library, but the only time I ever see y'all is when you want money or a donation. I really didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to weigh in on this, but at the end of the day, the one thing that's bothered me is it took me 4 seconds on Google, sitting right there tonight, to figure out that it takes the mayor and 2 council members to call a special meeting, which requires 24-hour notice. If all of y'all can't figure that out and get this to a venue where people can be heard, and if you can't figure out how to get a microphone where people can be heard, I'm not sure you should be making decisions about who runs the town.
There you go, brother. That's it.
Anyone else?
That was a while ago, man.
Okay, if there's no others from the audience that want to make comments, I'm going to allow council members to make their comments. We'll begin with Ms. Leadership. And
said tonight, been said, all over, that a lot of rumors, we've not been able to address anything. After the indictments come down, we did not know anything about the indictments. We knew the investigation. One thing I will say, from the beginning, since the death of the dispatcher, we've been involved, me and Mayor Sawyer. We actually, on September 3rd, after the death on the 24th, I called the State Bureau of Investigation myself to ask for them to take over the investigation, which Wallace had came in to secure the scene, do the preliminary investigation, but we made the call to bring in SBI, which, as I talked to the lieutenant, she said we'd have to have a request from the DA. So that I called DA Crocker and made that request. DA Crocker wrote the letter formally and got that down here to do. But say all that, on September 5th, we requested the NVR, the video recording device that has all this information on it, to be secured. We had not had that happen. There was nobody coming and got that. So we was, as leadership of Hanceville, I will say, Mayor Sawyer and I had that removed and secured and locked in a safe department. On the 13th of September, I contacted DA Crocker again, and he had not heard from Aaliyah. We had no contact with SBI yet. No investigation had begun. So on September 20th, we contacted Sheriff Matt Gentry, contacted DA Crocker. Me and Mayor Sawyer went and got from Chief Marlin, where the NVR was secured, took it to the Coleman County Sheriff's Department, to Matt Rutherford, which is the custodian of their evidence, and checked it into evidence with a chain of evidence of that release to him, to secure that evidence. So as far as everybody's concerned, we didn't know about this. We knew about it. Was all in on. I'm telling you, that was the evidence that they got, the indictments that the grand jury reviewed. So from September 20th, we have not heard one thing. SBI, which is not uncommon. We are not the ones being questioned, so we are not privy to that information. Till February 17th, last Monday, when Mayor Sawyer got told by Chief Marlin that there was indictments came down, we had no idea, and myself and Mayor Sawyer, we had no idea what the investigation was doing and so forth. As far as I can say for myself, this is nothing that had any clue was going on, or I've been on this council exactly 1 year to tonight, actually, when I was sworn in. Not that I'm taking any non-responsibility for that, but I will tell you this is something that we've had from the beginning, trying to secure and do everything in our power to make sure anyone that's doing wrongdoing is brought to justice, and that's what we've tried to do. But as far as the investigation, we've helped in every way, shape, and form from there. I will say one of the questions, I'm on the 911 board. 911 calls, I don't know if she's still here, was being answered. They were being answered by our police department, was still on staff. Our dispatchers was still on staff. And 911, the reason why we asked the sheriff to actually take over calls is because our force had gotten to a point where we wouldn't be comfortable if something happened in Hanceville, they were protected. So we made the call to switch it to the sheriff's office, to actually cover Hanceville for the safety of our citizens and make sure we were safe, because we live here also. I've got businesses here, I own property, so this is as much, our town, been here my whole life, and I want to make sure everybody understands, we hurt too. This is not what, we did not want any of this to happen. This, by all means, is not what I wanted, or I think anybody on this council to happen. So I understand the frustration, but all this stuff that happened before this, I don't know all of it, Now, my heart goes out to all of you, the ones that had these problems, because I've known Brian Campbell and Angela, I've known my whole life. But the fact is, I mean, we've got to fix what's here now for the masses, and that's what we're here to do. So, thank you.
I agree with you. We have to fix what's here. We have to figure out how to move forward. I babysat Angela Campbell, went to church with him, sang in the choir with Kathy. I had no idea what had happened, and that sickened me. And I'm so sorry that that happened to such a precious family. And over the years, they're very good officers here in Hanceville. They sat with me when my son died. They were there when both my parents died. They helped our kids get across the streets in school. Not everyone has been a bad person. Unfortunately, we are all clouded by what has happened, and we have to act in some way that is in the best interest of the city of Hanceville. These are difficult decisions, and I know none of us are going to take them lightly. The trust has been broken, and we have to figure out a way to bridge that and help the city go forward as a council and as a town. And we owe that, as many of you said, to the people who elected us. It is our responsibility, and the buck does stop here. We have to do what's best for all of you. We all live here. I want to go to bed at night just like you do and know I'm safe, know my grandchildren are safe. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we do this the right way and with everyone's best interest in mind.
Looking around in the room, looks like I'm the old man here, okay? This is the end of my third term on the city council. And these stories that were told tonight, I never heard before. It's a shock to me, a big shock to me. When we hire a chief of police, we hire him to handle the department. We give the department to him to handle. We don't know what's going on in the police department until, if somebody come to our council meetings, let us know what you know, what's going on in our community. As far as this situation is, y'all know as much as I do of what's going on. You watch the news. That's all I do, is watch the news. What's going on. I'm not an investigator. I can't go out and check everything. And as far as our police department, the personnel that we got on calling out, I think they're good men. I really do. We just had one to get out of training, police officer. We got a call the other night to an infant, about 3 weeks ago, to an infant that was not breathing and had choking and was not breathing. They called it in, and before our paramedics could get to the scene, the police officer got there first. He went there and started CPR. And he's been accredited for saving that infant's life. We gave him an award and a citation last, that was the last meeting? And so, like I hate what happened. Everybody hates what happened. But we gotta take our time. We're not gonna jump into this forward. We're going to take our time and try to do it right. We're human beings. We make mistakes. But we're going to try to handle this situation right. And these past, like you read that again about these people that came in and spoke about some of their past experiences. I never heard of that. I never heard of that. Is Mr. Campbell still in the room?
unfortunately, some of you have done the same thing that we've been accused of, overlooking. These people that have worked here in the city hall have been beat up over this. They didn't know what was going on any more than we did. I'm like Jimmy. What I've heard here tonight, I'm repulsed over. It should never have happened. Our city, when the indictments was handed down, the way it was done should not have been done the way it was. These men have been indicted, granted that, but those men were gone from here. They were gone. That tells me that there was a process of trying to clean things up. And one of them, and had been gone for months, and one of them was a reserve that hadn't been here in months. But they didn't bother to say that. We got indicted not only by the grand jury, but we got indicted by the way it was put out.
Amen.
Now, I'm sorry, and if I make somebody mad over it, I can't help it. And you may not like me after I'm finished, but there was a better way to do it. We deserve better as citizens.
That's right.
And our people have tried to do a good job that are doing the best they know. Our street department, you know, you start down-mouthing and beating our people up, they are so defeated. Our police officers have quit because they felt like their backs wasn't covered by us, because we didn't speak out against the way it was presented. And I'm upset about that. I've been told we've done the best we can do. The bad ones are gone. We know there was issues. We know it now. And all I can say is I am 100%. And I can tell you something else. If you talk to Matt Gentry, if he is truthful, he will tell you he's had issues in his own department.
Oh, sure.
Okay? If you talk to Kenny Culpepper, he will tell you the same thing. Anybody, any city that has departments have issues. And I'm one of these people, let's deal with them. Don't put it off, let's deal with it. And I'm not about covering up. Denise,
Yes.
Noah's your son.
Yes, ma'am.
I know Noah. He's a good kid.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I've about said all I can say about it, but I'm like Jimmy. That little guy, that officer, Terry, Cup, where would that family be if we hadn't had him here?
That's right.
Think about it. It could have been your grandchildren. When that's what we've got to think about as a council. It's not just about us, it's about all of you. And I'm passionate about trying to get our department back. I think we deserve a good police department. And I'm passionate about doing the right thing for the city. And the grand jury saying that we needed, the remark about they knew better, they don't know our city. They don't know what our needs are. If they don't live here, they don't know what our needs are.
That's right.
And I am passionate about us doing the right thing for you guys. Not just us because we live here, but I'm passionate about doing the right thing. Because that's what when I ran for this position, it was the hope that I could be a part of seeing our city continue to grow. And we're getting new businesses, we're getting new homes being built here. We're gonna have near 100 to be built this year.
That's right.
Here in the city limits. We've got Tractor Supply. We've got autos. I mean, come on, people. If I was building, I would want to look at a place that's got a good community. That's what we try to be. I've been tore up about the whole thing because I've seen what our people have been put through, our city, and I love this town. That's why I'm here. And I'll tell you, our police officers are not here for the money. The money's not that great. You got me?
That's right.
Being on this council, the money's not that great.
I don't live here, but I'd like to say 4 sentences for 30,000 feet.
if you'll let me. Nobody's stopping me, so I guess I'm.
Go ahead.
You know, as an outsider, I live in Coleman. As an outsider, I've followed all of this. I agree 100%. How can Hanceville be a den of criminals? I know people here. My son works for the police department. He's not a criminal. I don't believe any of these people that work for the police department anymore are criminals. Just like you said, the ones, the 4 and 5, they're gone. They've been gone. So how can we say that it's a corrupt department and it's a criminal enterprise? I think the police department deserves another opportunity. I think it's up to you guys to make sure that the right people are leading. Someone said there needed to be a liaison between one of you and the department. That'd go a long way.
That's right.
Thank you.
May I say something, please? Really quick. I believe in second chances. Now it's out.
Sorry,
It's all out now. It's all out in the press. It's all in the opening. Hanceville needs a second chance to start over. I love my little town. I love my department. I love this place. But this isn't all. I got 3 boys. They targeted all 3 of my boys. It wasn't just the one. Patty, you're right. It wasn't just one. I do have 3 good boys. These people right over here, this preacher over here, Rusty, they know I got 3 good boys. I got no story. This ain't all. This ain't all. Patty, I appreciate what you just said.
Okay, John?
Lots been said, sit up here and really heard, some of the stuff's been said from what people's had bad experience with our police department. And like the council members here, we have had some good policemen. We've had some bad ones, and most of them have been, well, I think all of them are rooted out now. But we got good people that's in City Hall, and the dispatchers, and everything else. Michelle does a lot for, like kids night out. It hurts to hear, especially about the story about Mr. Davis. I mean, you just want to break down and cry. Nobody deserves, what happened. And the main thing that we have to look at, I think, from reading and then hearing y'all speak, and then, from the city council people, we all would like to have our own police department. We think it's part of the pride of the city and the community, and also building trust with the citizens. That's one of the things, like when we do have kids night out or Fisherama, we like the policemen to be around and, circulate with the citizens, get to know them. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. We've talked about if we move forward and restarting up the police department, some of us will be involved in looking at the hiring process and going through that. It's been a big job over the past. The mayor has had that sole responsibility. But I think sometimes it's maybe a little bit too much. It may be best to have a couple of people on that interview and see what the, besides research about the people that we do hire, if we elect to have this department, which I hope we do. And from what most of y'all have, I've gathered and expressed, y'all would like to have me on this department. I agree with response time. You're not going to get it with the enforcement from the outside, where the sheriff's department's good, but for them to come down, it's not like having your own people here in town. So there's a lot of stuff we've got to discuss and look through the whole process and see about restarting it. And, you know, we've got a mess over the jail, so we've got issues with that that we have to go through. So it's going to take some time. And we hope the citizens, you know, bear with us on reviewing all that. And, you know, I think what we'll have to do, we'll have to, you know, get together and have another special meeting. And, you know, if there's anything else that needs to be brought up, you know, to hear from our citizens. And then, you know, so we can take it in, evaluate everything, you know, from the jail, you know, to, we've lost some policemen that were going to be excellent policemen. They have left. They have been hurt also. So, you know, prayers are, you know, for all our citizens, and I hope y'all pray for us that God leads us in making, you know, the right decisions and moving this city forward, and also building pride back in the city. This is a nice little city. It really is. I'm not from here originally. I moved here about 8 years ago, and you know, we like being here. It's a nice little city, and it's building and it's growing, and we'd like to continue to see that through. Thank you.
Mayor. One other thing.
Could I speak?
People are saying that we're not transparent enough and we're not open enough to the public. How can we get more open?
I'd like to
Come to our council meetings, and sometimes they may not last but 15 minutes. On average, it's 30 minutes. Come to our council meetings, ask questions. We have just like tonight, we have a time limit that we come up and speak, but we try to be as open as we can, but I don't know how we can be more open than we are.
I'd like to address the mayor. I talked to Jimmy, I talked to you in the morning, all this rest came down, which I didn't know that was coming down, but what we're talking about interviewing. And it's not just Jimmy's place to interview, it's all of y'all's place. The way we interviewed, we had a public thing, just like y'all would all sit up there at the council meeting, and the public was invited to listen to the interviews of the police that was being hired. They had questions, and all the council members had questions they could ask the person y'all was interviewing. It's not just the mayor's place to interview or to hire. It is all of his place to interview on these people that y'all are hiring and get their background. There was 2 that we interviewed. I knew their background. I knew they was lying when I interviewed them, and I knew we were not going to hire them. But always let the council, all the council be in on it, not just the mayor. Don't put it all on the mayor, because it's all of his responsibility to check their background, to see where they've been. And they said, I talked to the police, Matt Gentry, and he said they had let 2 of those that was arrested go from up there. I don't know if y'all interviewed them, I don't know. But y'all, if they had been let go from up there for misconduct or whatever, then they shouldn't have been hired down there. That's all I can say. I was the mayor here 4 years, and I did see about the police chief. I let one go because he wasn't doing his job. The next one, he resigned, and the next one, he passed away, I'm sorry to say. But we had a good police department. We didn't have any of this. I was back there in dispatch. A lot of times I would go back there and dispatch. I was around and visiting and seeing what was going on. And they can tell you that Tanya was a clerk then. She left us, but then she came back. And she's been a good clerk. But you've got to know what's going on. You can't sit up there and just listen out here. You've got to get out into the community and know what's going on. And you've got to know about the police that you're hiring. You've got to check their background. Just don't take their word for it, because they'll sit right there and lie to you. Thank you. Mayor Sawyer?
Yes,
May I ask one?
Yes.
We weren't going to have employees speak, we were only going to have people that lived in the city limits. been here 20 years. And been through a lot, a lot of things. But I guess it's time, since we're gonna be transparent, we've all had to keep quiet. Still keeping quiet. And there's a lot that is still not known. And there's a lot that's still being investigated. We can't do it all. We have requested, and the council has done everything that they can to request that the correct and right authorities come in and do and help. Help was requested 5 months before the dispatch supervisor died. And we were promised and told that help was coming. And it did not. And then we had a death, wherein our own police department and police force at that time did everything they possibly could to keep us from getting any information. The police chief, Josh Howell, back in April and before of 2024, threatened me on 3 occasions. Police Deputy Chief Adam Hatter threatened me on several occasions. I have had my life threatened over what went on at this police department. I knew them for many years and was completely fooled for a while and thought that they were good people, did a good job, until I knew they were breaking the law. And I said, no, this is not right, and I'm not going to do this. At that point, I became the most hated woman and city employee in Hanceville. I have had groups of people, employees that are still employed with the city police department, that got together as a group. And these meetings have been overheard, and these statements have come forward. Heard these people plotting and planning to get rid of me, to do something to me, allegations put out there by the people that turned Mayor Kenneth Nell into the Ethics Commission, to go to his family and tell them it was me, so that I would be the most hated woman in Hanceville. All these things put on Facebook about me, all of them are untrue. Every accusation in Adam Hatter's lawsuit is not true. I realize things are being put out ahead of time about me in the police department to get people to hate me. The only reason is they wanted to get rid of me because they knew I would not let them get away with the things that they were doing. And I brought it to light. And there are many more things. If the proper authorities don't bring it to light, I'm going to.
Sister, you.
There's a whole lot that I would like to say, but I'm not prepared. When I will have a book, and it will have every detail in it. And you all know that I'm a pretty detailed person, and I've got it. I've got it written down, dates and times, and I'm tired of the lying. I'm tired of people coming in and portraying that they're honest and that they want the best for this city when I know that they don't. I am not against the police department, and that is for the citizens here of Hanceville and the business owners to decide. To let your council members who represent this community and who will make the decision, let them know what you want. But I understand being here, been through turnover after turnover after I can't tell you how many police chiefs have been through, how many court clerks we've been through since I've been here. And it's hard to get a person with integrity experience to carry on the operations that Hanceville has tried so hard to carry on. I mean, we've tried, and I say we, I mean, I've worked here for a long time. The council, you know, they make the decision. I try to carry out what they decide to do, and we have tried and have time and time again, the best that I believe they could, I could, and it takes more than that. It takes more than that to get a person in here that has the ability to take someone's livelihood away, to incarcerate someone, to take someone's property away and lock it up. It takes a lot of that. It takes a lot of know-how and understanding to be able to vet that person. You don't want somebody coming in here that doesn't have any experience. It's hard to find an honest person with integrity nowadays, you know, that has education and everything that would be required to do that job.
Not if you hire the right person.
Well, and that's the problem, hiring the right person, because like I said, I was fooled for many years by many officers here. And I thank the council for I appreciate them. And I've enjoyed my job here.
Appreciate you.
But I want the community and everybody to know it's very complicated there's so much to it. And they're trying, you know, to do the best they can to make the right decision for Hanceville. And I appreciate them for that. And I appreciate all of you coming because it shows that you do care about our community and you care about what happens here. And I would love to anybody has accusation against me here that would like to say it instead of just saying it on Facebook, I'm welcoming it right now. I mean, like I'm an open book. If you've got something to say about me, or that I've done, or that you have, I'd be glad to, you know, go through it right now with you.
I just want to say one thing. Since you're talking about Howell,
Amen. Come on.
Long,
Yep.
Duncan, they all need to be found and prosecuted.
Yes.
Because they are snakes and they are,
Pieces
they're
of
how they
shit.
treated people.
That's right.
And Hanceville today, I know they're here somewhere. I know that paper has put a lot of stuff in there that's not accurate and true. And don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate any of the comments that's been made on Facebook about me personally and using my name. A lot of people think that I'm the court clerk. They think that I'm the one that works in the tag office. And they're on there bashing that person. They're using my name, but they think I'm that clerk. Now, I'm not that clerk. I'm not that clerk. I'm the city clerk, you know. I have not done all those things. I did not fire anyone. I'll tell you for sure that Adam Hatter did come to the mayor after it was found that he had city vehicles, brand new ones. He had one parked in, he said, in his garage, brand new, and he was driving a brand new police vehicle also at the time. We had an ATV, brand new one, and a trailer come up missing. A month, 6 weeks after he left, he had it the whole time on his property.
Sure did.
Never hit the city grounds here after it was purchased. After all that was, he requested, asked Mayor Sawyer, would he let him retire? Nothing was ever said that he's going to be fired or anything, but he knew, we knew these things. Mayor Sawyer said, yes, I'll let you retire. Josh Howell, the next day, came in and submitted his resignation.
Yes.
I did not fire them. I don't have the authority to fire anyone. And I'm not the reason everybody is leaving Hanceville. A lot of the reason is because they've done things that are not legal. So, you know, I guess I'm tired of being quiet.
About time.
Yeah, so
About
anyway,
time.
I appreciate it, but I really would appreciate you didn't put things on Facebook about me that aren't true.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
This is an issue, a situation that caught us completely off the guard. We've only had a week to think about this. We've only had a week to look priority for us is your safety and the safety of your family, the protection of your home. And we have allowed a lot of latitude here tonight. We got away, we threw the 3-minute thing out the window, okay? Because we're concerned about how you feel. We wanted to hear what you had to say. And we realize the seriousness of it. And we realize that it's not something that we have an answer to that we can try to fix overnight. And this is something that's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of thought, a lot of consideration, a lot of input, a lot of investigation of where do we go from here? Because that's our number one goal, is your protection and your safety. But how do we do that? How is the best way that we do that? But it's on the agenda this afternoon, and we need to take some kind of action on it. I don't know if we have, yes, sir.
Mayor, if you don't mind,
Sure.
There's been some consternation about the facilities. Let me remind everybody, this is where you have your council meetings. You've had all your council meetings. It is a truism that if you want to change for a special meeting, you have to give 24 hours notice posted appropriately. And then I will put it on the ability but you cannot change the location of your town meeting without a 7-day notice. Also,
I knew that was correct, but I wasn't going to correct it at the time.
it was not the time, and the thing about it is, and I can see the rationale. Assume you're in a municipality that's miles wide and long, and you change the location, and you give 24 hours notice. How does anybody know? But there is some debate on the Open Meetings Act, whether that can only be changed in an open meeting. In other words, it talks about primarily, I think they're really referring to a regular meeting. It does not say the regular meeting. It says you change the location, and you need a 7-day notice, and it has to be voted on before that change at a council meeting. So your dilemma became, you wanted to reach this immediately. You knew there was going to be participation by the public. You didn't want to wait, and you could not only have a meeting to vote on changing the location, have a better location. So it's not, you didn't really have a lot of options about that. If I missed the law on that, I'm almost positive I'll get 703 calls before I get to my house that tell me I missed the law on that. And I think you're correct, but if you have a special meeting, you still have to be here for that 24-hour notice. I just thought I would interject that.
If a special meeting is called, as long as you give it 24-hour notice, then the location can be changed from here to.
Special meeting, you have to have the meeting in this location.
In this location, for a
To have
special
a
meeting.
change of location, 7-day notice. And then there's a debate, I'm sure educated jurists all over will call and tell me if you have to have a vote by the council to change the location for one time. That's my understanding.
So, members, we've heard all the comments. I need roll call. Councilman Still, we're still in the conference.
Is it a roll call?
We need a roll call.
Yes, sir. Counselor Stan.
Here.
Counselor Dean Tucker. Here. Counselor Nutt.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown. Here. Counselor Cornelius.
Here.
Mayor Sawyer.
Here. Now, I need a consent for the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda that has been presented. All those in favor, would you let it know saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, by the word no. The ayes have it.
Attorney, so we need to have a change of venue vote in open council. So I would make, if you add to that motion, I would make a, motion that we have a special call meeting 7 days from now to change venue and to have another special call meeting to try to get that week to get this information gathered as much as possible to make an educated decision on what it would look like. Whatever decision we make and get a plan together as far as our protection and so forth, and what we could look at as far as cost and as far as not only our department but with the sheriff's office, possibly whatever scenarios we go down that road. That way we can have an educated decision. So
Yeah, I think I'm right on this. Mr. Nuss will have to withdraw his motion. Because that was going to, his motion was going to set this for 2 weeks.
You need to amend your, either you can amend it or you can withdraw it next week. And let me say this, if you don't mind, since I'm talking so much. Technically, your agenda does not have a call for a special meeting, so it would be an agenda item. Am I right, it's not on there?
Right, you need to add it to the agenda by roll call vote.
Just to follow your protocol.
Okay. The motion,
Or either amend it, or we could,
once we add it,
If I was you, I would let him go ahead with his motion to table, and then I would do a motion to add,
okay, all right, okay.
location change.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by the word no? There is none. Now, I'm going to ask that you add item number 6 to the agenda for a special call council meeting
we'll change it in.
and change of venue. The date, do you have a date in mind?
1 week from tonight.
Okay.
Would that give some next?
it would be 7 days, you got a 7-day notice.
That would not qualify.
I think it might be a day shy, so.
Yes, sir.
Dan, is that business days or weekends counted?
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
It's just 7 days.
It's like 7 days from today.
Posted in the morning, you can have it on the 7th of February. 7th of February. Anytime after tomorrow morning, next Friday on the 7th or after.
Monday the 10th.
Yes. Monday the 10th.
So, item number 6, I'm asking you to add item number 6 for a special call business meeting. Monday the 10th of March. The location will be determined.
Council, we have
Meeting notice.
Civic Center.
Wallace College. Well, we don't
We don't know if it's,
sound system. Wallace College. We can have Wallace College. I'll make those. Will that work?
Sure it will be available.
I feel sure that she can make something happen. Unless y'all won't go to see. We don't know his way, yes ma'am. Okay. Let's just make it Civic Center. Hanceville Civic Center.
yes, Hanceville Civic Center, we will try to make adequate arrangements for our sound.
I need a roll call vote.
It's
right down the road.
5 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Of the Civic Center,
Right down the road to Armory.
Civic Center address, Kim, anybody? 902 Commercial Street, Hanceville. East.
Okay, who made motion? Okay, and second?
We need a roll call vote.
To add to the agenda.
Yes.
Mayor Sawyer.
Yes. Okay, item number 2, have the bill approval and present the invoices for payment. Motion and second to pay the invoices that have been presented to us for this session. All those in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed, word no. The ayes have it. Item number 3, ordinance number 2025-2. That's the electronic vote counting and devices. First introduction was introduced at the last council meeting. This will be the second introduction. This ordinance will repeal ordinance number 530. I'll need a roll call vote for that.
Roll call.
I'm sorry.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-2.
Okay, motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2025-2. Now we need a roll call.
Counselor Stam.
Yes.
Counselor Dean Tucker. Yes. Counselor Nuss.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown. Yes. Counselor Cornelius.
Yes.
Mayor Sawyer.
Yes. Okay, item number 4, the bridge inspection proposal. You have a copy of that in your packet. As you talked about, we have 3 bridges that have to be inspected. 2 of those have to be inspected every other year. 1 has to be inspected every year because of the weight limit. That's the one on Commercial Street. The regular inspection fee for all 3 of those is $2,000 each. But this 3rd bridge that needs to be inspected is the bridge that goes over the railroad on Industrial Park, which also involves the rental of a snooker. If you're not familiar with what a snooker is, that is a utility truck with a bed on it that reaches out over the bridge and comes up under it, which allows the inspector to get a visual under the bridge. So the cost of that rental is $3,000. So the total quote for that bridge inspection is $5,000.
I make a motion that we allow Wigginton Bridge Inspection Services to perform the inspection of the bridge on National Park for the cost of $5,000.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to allow the bridge inspection to be done. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There is none. Okay. Item number 5, the Irish Festival. The downtown merchants have asked that we allow them to conduct the Irish Festival. It'll be March the 15th. That's on a Saturday from 9 to 5, and they're requesting the same things they've asked for street closing and the laying of the vendor fees. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the Irish Festival closures of standard streets.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for this request. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
they can try, and I appreciate y'all recognizing that. I show you my accountability with my report every week, and I can answer any question at any time you need to do that.
Counselor, I appreciate your report every council meeting.
Thank you.
Every,
I'm accountable for that, and I'll stand accountable for my report.
thank you, Ray. Thank you, me and all.
Okay, we need to approve the February 13th council minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion, have a motion and a second to approve those minutes, February 13th. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Ayes have it. The only announcement we have then will be the special council meeting, March the 10th, 5 o'clock, at the Civic Center. There's nothing else for the council. 5 o'clock. We are adjourned.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I used your notebook. You need a pen and there's some pencil.